favorite to the professionals.
Blessed by Bundy, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living the dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her Era Lord. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living the dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like LeBron James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. Refuse not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gon' stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum NFTs. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I gotta shout out
Started
the
off with a
party.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living the dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Breaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in suits. Yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, mighty, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. I had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So I had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the drive with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and Steve for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain GM. Thanks so much for joining. If you haven't done so, do us a favor, drop us a GM in the chat down below. Then head up top, smash that like, repost, bookmark on today's space. Greatly appreciate it. It does warm up the algo and does us a real solid. Also up there, you'll find the link to YouTube as well as Abstract. Both those chats popping off already this morning. GM, Von Front, and Diablito. And without even looking, I know Katie and Diablito both over in the Abstract chat. Diablito double dipping the chats this morning. The X Spaces link is also up top. That's the big one. That gets things warmed up for us. Greatly appreciate it. Hope everyone's New Year's off to a great start. And welcome. As always, I'm Cap, joined by No Coast today. But as always, never any financial advice in the show. Crypto is risky, NFTs risky, meme coins exceptionally risky. It can all go to zero at a moment's notice. Excuse me. Please don't put any money you can't afford to lose. Know that I hold tokens we'll talk about from time to time here on the show. I'm not a financial advisor, certainly not your financial advisor. Don't join for that. Just join for some fun, some information, and maybe a little bit of education along the way. Now that we've got that out of the way, hope, first of all, congrats to our Hoosier fans out there. Big night. Sorry, Payne, but big W in Clutch Football Playoff. The only team with a bye to advance. I think 1-7 now after 2 years. Flawed setup, but nothing could slow down the Hoosiers in 2025 or 2026, seemingly enough. A few things I want to get into today. We've got, as always, if you have any questions, any thoughts, anything you want to expand on, you can drop those comments, questions in the chat, or throw a request to come up on stage. We'll do our best to get through everyone here today. And wrapping up the week, kind of I'd say kind of a sleepier week. I'm starting to see the timeline come back to life. today after everyone hopefully got their holiday festivities in, and a little more activity. Still lacking the the daily market updates and whatnot that I often use as pregame or prep for this show. But I did see a few. I'm going to go grab those now and put them up top because that will, I believe, lead the conversation today. And we'll see where the audience wants to go. We may, I said this last couple of days, we end up going long. So the jinx is if I talk about, we might only go 60, 90 minutes today. It ends up being like a 2.5 hour show. So buckle up. I'm thinking, 60 to 90 minute show today on the lighter topic. But any one of these topics, I guess this is probably going to be a controversial one. But I'm just gonna spam the jumbotron with a few takes here. It is we're gonna bull post ETH this morning. Bull post ETH, and then we're gonna come back to airdrops in a bit. So two things we're gonna dive deep in today is ETH, why smart money is rotating into ETH. We'll talk a little bit about we've been talking about upcoming TGEs, upcoming airdrops for 2026. I've got some follow-up information on that, a couple new ones to put on your radar. You're not going to want to miss those. And the ETH movement, well, I mean, all markets looking good, knock on wood, looking good to start the morning. Buckle up for Monday morning. We'll see if we'll really be back if we survive a Monday morning without the American East Coast sell-off when things when things open up. I'm actually going to pin the same chart twice because I think it's a big deal. So up top, you will find GM Sinum, long time no see. I feel Rocky, always a pleasure. Mike, appreciate you. Maria, Teacher Katie, Wise, Brick It All, Hizzy, all the legends in the chat. But here is what we are going to. Let me pull this up on screen for those of you that are tuned in via the live stream. Let me see if she's still out there. I saw we had a request come up like during the opening. It is an open stage. We just asked that it's not a shill show. It's not an InfoFi show. No offense. But if we've not yet connected and I go look at a profile and it seems to be mostly InfoFi posting, the stage is open, but I just would ask that you come add to the conversation. Something we're discussing today. You don't have to, but we just avoid shill shows and not looking to outside of Jonah. Jonah's allowed to come up and Aura farm because he is the every once in a while I need someone to get me spicy and someone I can disagree with on stage, and Jonah serves that purpose. So Jonah can Aura farm. Other than that, we just if you're going to be active, enjoy the conversation, talk about the topic at hand, more than merrier. But usually, not saying all. Usually, if someone's requesting up during the intro song, it's usually they're looking to shill their own token or spam InfoFi things to the Jumbotron, and it's not that type of show. But do appreciate you being here, and you're welcome back. We do go to live every Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern time, talking trending topics of the day. Usually, the first hour is those trending topics, news of the day, and then the second hour takes us into. We sometimes have a special guest or just a continuation, a deeper dive on the day's topic at hand. But without further ado, I do want to jump into this because, again, few leading topics today. One, why is all the smart money moving into ETH? I do want to highlight OSF came out with a longer take on not just REC, but more AI16Z also released kind of what they're looking at in 2026. Some of those are some of these upcoming TGEs we've been talking about this past week. But before we get into any of that, I do want to highlight this ETH movement. Actually, let me pull up charts this morning because I've only seen my widget and it looks pretty green across the board. Not looking to jinx anything, but things looking pretty good heading into the first week of the year. Mainly driven by the one and only Pepe. Pepe is up 36% on the day. I'm not saying we're back, but that's a pretty decent indicator that we might actually be back. Let me do a screen share. I'm just going to share this chart. You know what? We haven't done this for a while. TK making a YouTube appearance. Is that Corona? Oh, teacher Katie, got it. Sorry, I'm a little slow. Need more coffee. More coffee, please. Let me do this. We haven't played in a actual full proper daily market update, so I'm going to do one here. We're going to throw this way back because we also have you might have missed it. We have a discount code for not just first time users but also returning users to Awaken Tax. I know it's early as far as tax season goes, but I don't know. I'm guessing there's a handful, 5%, 10% of you out there that have, January 1 hit and you start thinking about your early filings. Believe it or not, I'm more of the extendor and the late filer as opposed to let me get this stuff knocked out the first week of January. But without further ado, we'll do a quick daily market update and then we will jump right into some of these meme coins ripping, as well as the massive amounts of smart money flowing into ETH. I'll be right back.
It's market update time. Let's set the play. Powered by Awaken, the smart tax way. From crypto flips to DeFi stacks. They keep it clean. Got your back. Grab your coffee. Let's break it down. Daily update right now.
It's a daily market update. We're going to jump right into this. Awaken Tax, by the way, most of the war rooms preferred tax calculator, tax software as it relates to crypto. Duke and the team over there just done a critical job staying up to date. Something new launches, they update their software. I think may not be the most popular in terms of users, but I think the things I've seen, it's by far first in class in terms of crypto tax software. So Awaken Tax, I'll go pin one of their posts up top so you make sure you get the official account. And if you're a new user, just use Coffee50 to save $50 off on their software. It's an annual subscription and it turns over every year. So if you had a subscription last year, you basically you lose access unless you get a subscription this year. Very, very normal for any subscription based stuff. But I'll post one from a couple days ago talking about NFT taxes, and the code is Coffee50 if you're a new user, COFFEE50. And if you're a returning user, it's return Coffee50. Just the word return, Coffee50, all one word, all lowercase. Probably is not even case sensitive. If you have any trouble with that, let me know. We'll be sure to get you that hooked up with that discount. But this is not a sponsored segment. We have did a partnership with them last year, tax season. It's just I like the team, like the software, and if anyone's looking for crypto tax software, I truly happy to promote them and amplify what they're building because it is good, and you all can get $50 off. So again, either Coffee50 or return Coffee50 if you're a returning user. Go enjoy that discount and give. All I asked was give them a shout out on the timeline if you do use it. They deserve more amplification from what I've seen. So that said, this market update, don't remember. I mean, no exaggeration. Like first thought, if you ask me when's the last time we saw a day like this, my brain goes to like January of 25. I'm sure there was others in 25, but I don't specifically remember. Pepe up 36% on the day. Hollow up 35% on the day. River up 32% of the day. Wojak up 28% of the day. Popcat up 26% of the day. We're going to skip through some of the others, but even Doge up 9%, Shiba up 10%, Meme Core. I still can't figure out Meme Core. I don't know. I shouldn't even comment. I shouldn't say I think it's some sort of pump and dump scam because I don't know. It trades so weird compared to the rest of the market. Like it's like inverted to the rest of the market often. Down days it'll be up days it'll be down. It's like the maladies of meme coins. Pepe, as I mentioned, now up 37%. Pump Fun up 9%. Trump up 5%. So big memes like $1 billion memes. I didn't realize Trump is below $1 billion. Wow. So market cap wise, Pepe at 2.38, Pump Fun at 1.29. That's, I think its pre-sale was 4 billion. So down pretty bad. Will we see it? It's so funny too. We're talking airdrops and TGEs. I know they've already had their TGE. Will we get a Pump Fun airdrop in 2026 as the prophecy was told? I don't know. I think you would think so. I'm curious if it has anything to do with this suit and they're just holding off until that happens. I really have no idea, but pretty shocking for the amount of revenue they brought in 25 to have not delivered the airdrop as promised to their holders. I believe it was promised anyways. Even runes are up double digits on the day to give you an idea. And as we get into majors here, you'll see Bitcoin up 2%, ETH up 2%, broke that 3K mark. If we don't get the East Coast America sell off this morning, Bitcoin looks programmed to go back north of 90K. XRP up 3%, closing in on $2 once again. Solana up 3%, although Grok, I don't know if you saw Bold. I'm going to go share that right now because that is one of the better work. I will say I prefer this sort of grokking much more so than, hey Grok, remove her clothes or put a bikini on her. Like for a while it was ridiculous. But this is a good use of Grok. Hey Grok, remove the scam cryptocurrency from this image. And it's got Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, XRP, and Cardano. I don't know these logos. I'm guessing XRP and I think that's Cardano. Someone correct me. Whose logo is this on the right? Anyways, Grok removes Solana from the called Solana, the scam cryptocurrency. I found that interesting. I don't know what Grok knows that we don't, but anyways, back to the market update here. It is that is Cardano. So XRP and Cardano are the two. I could have just flipped back to the market update for that info. I need a little bit of static in my cans. Is audio okay in the chat? Someone in X, if you could let me know, as well as either YouTube or Abstract. It should be the same feed on both of those ends, but I'm getting a little bit of feedback. Just want to make sure nothing on Diablito wins the chat with his avatar bikini grokked. And I do know, look at the tippers coming out in full force on now that tax loss harvesting is done. We can the tips are flowing. Appreciate you, Von Front and Green Edge over in the app there. The feedback just went away, so I don't know what happened, but hopefully sound is good for all of you. Pingu down to 1 cent. I did not know that. Nevertheless, I will still take those Pingu tips. It must have been lower than that because I just glanced at I have my abstract balance hidden. I just unhid it and it's higher than last time I looked. So not a lot, but it's up a little bit. Welcome back, Jamber. I know you've been busy. Great to see you in the abstract chat over there. And now I've got to go look at this Pingu chart since it's being called out in the abstract chat. And we will one of the TGs we're going to. I keep looking at the space and I see Steve out there. No obligation, Steve, but I was invoking you yesterday. We flew over the college football discussion. I did say it would have been much better, much more entertaining if the two of us were able to commiserate about the embarrassment on New Year's Eve. But I digress. No obligations. Just a quick aside. This is FDV is under Billy. Current circulating market cap only 639 million, down on the year, 72%. I don't remember. I know. I'm not debating it. I guess last January it was still kind of on the run up from TGE. Yeah, okay. It wasn't until post. That's, I guess, makes sense. So it was post Trump when everything, at least memes, fell off the cliff, and then it climbed. And then was this October 10th? Yep. Wow, look at that. So let's talk about this for a second. I promise we'll get back to the market update and I will talk about the ETH thesis. But just look at this. Just think about this. I'm not saying they were black swan events. For meme coins, they might have been. Like it's weird that we'd say another meme coin launching, but the way it was launched, the president, and they immediately followed up with a second coin. Like without even going to the date, we knew as soon as I saw the chart and put some actual thought to it, I was like, oh yeah, the Trump happened and it tanked the coin. And then it started gradually climbing back to like all-time highs. And then and kind of chopped there for July, August, September, October. So like people weren't happy during this time. You're like, oh, what, do something, like the meme, like poking it with a stick, do something. But really from July, August, September, October, almost 4 months, it was performing at like, it was range bound at all-time highs or close to it. And then we get 10-10. And then, like most things, have been down only since, for the most part. Now, I say since because this could be a dead cat bounce, or maybe we actually enter a run. So this actually does tie into OSF's take as well. This isn't a Pingu conversation. This is, I think you'd be hard pressed to find a meme coin chart that doesn't kind of closely mimic the Pingu chart. Meaning, if it was doing well in January, I don't know one that survived Trump. They all look similar to this. And then same thing with 1010, not just memes, majors and all. After 1010 hit, it's been down only. Now, I mean, so again, while we zoom in and look at the 1 week chart, oh, we're saved. It's back up only because we're saying it's below a penny. Yeah, but it was down when I was said it's up from when last I looked. I must have been looking here. It was like the 0.008 range. So we're up pretty big from that. If we zoom out a little bit, it's not the first time we had some run-ups. So this very well could just be a short flash in the pan. And like I said, at 9:30, markets open and we see a massive sell-off here in the States and it's back to 0.008. I don't think that's the case. I do feel as if I don't know, Spidey senses tells me we're getting some momentum. Does it continue up only for a while? I don't know. But what I do know is if there's brands, if there's teams, if there's tokens you like, and their chart looks like this, now's probably a good time to buy. Now's probably a good time to at least DCA. You don't want to buy these points on the chart, but if you believe in the thesis, if you believe in the brand, just looking at this, if it just gets back to where it was as early as October, pre the 1010 crash, it's like a 4x from here. It's not bad. Now, some of you are looking for more than a 4x, but again, these ones that are longer term plays, like Pingu's not going anywhere. I just Pingu wrecked. Ape, there's a lot. Fartcoin. Let's actually look at the Fartcoin chart since I said it. I'm going to guess it's looking similar. We'll see. So, actually, it doesn't look similar. It does. It started from so low, so it's harder to envision here. The last month, it too is running up here after hitting lows. It got down to like 23 cents, back up to 30. But it wasn't that long ago. I mean, in the month of December, it was up 36. Let's look at the year. So kind of similar. Trump happens and it crashes down to 23 cents. Then it builds. Same thing as Pingu, and actually longer duration from April, May, all the way through. I mean, started losing a little bit pre-1010, but then the big drop here, boom, 1010 hits, and it's down only since. They're not going to be exact, but I think it's easy in hindsight to reflect on 2025, like, what the hell happened? It was a bull market, allegedly. Well, all things further out on the risk curve than majors, depends on your definition of a black swan event. I would say an unexpected, unplanned event that was macro for our space on Trump meme coin launch and on 1010, whatever happened. The greatest liquidation event in crypto history. I don't know if we're fully out of the woods yet from 1010. I don't. I'm not that smart. I'm not that connected or dialed in. I do believe we still don't have the full story. And it's easy for me to logically and rationally build a thesis that, okay, it's two things happen. Either we never get, that was it. We had our bull market and we just don't have one. Or I lean on the side that the traditional 4-year cycle is over. And that's a thing of the past. It was a Bitcoin thing. It was a crypto thing. I don't think that's the case anymore. I do think it's still very much majors will go first, and then alts, and then other things like NFTs. This chart is let me flip over. I mean, this is just looking at top crypto in terms of percentage basis today. And these aren't nothing. I mean, yes, some are in like the sub 100 million here, but Pepe leading at 36%. Again, I'm pretty sure this exact same thing happened about a year ago. Mog's up 23%, Rex up 21%. Monad's up 18%. We haven't said this stuff for a while. if it continues, and I'm not saying we see double-digit growth every single day, but if we have this momentum continue, boy, oh boy, oh boy, do those TGEs we talked about yesterday get a lot more exciting for these major protocols, these major crypto brands that have been building for years to drop into a market like this. Things could get absolutely silly. I am going to flip over to NFTs for a second. I'm curious. And let's look at, I know the percentages are broken here, so it's hard to see. Milady's down after the Vitalik pump, but Big Pudgy's up 7% to 4.39. I'm gonna flip over here because this is clearly not accurate. Doodles, congratulations, up 13% on the day, back up over 0.4. Let's let me go pull another. Let me go. We'll pay homage to our guy Steve out there, and we will look at the OpenSea NFT chart instead. I do have a question then on, or maybe some feedback if you want to pass along to the engineer team for people like myself that like showing, like you saw, I go to like CoinMarketCap is my default place to look at charts. I'm sure there's better chart places out there, but if I'm just looking to show a quick chart, that works for me. I used to go to Mintify a lot for the NFT charts and the daily market update. This is like, I understand the landing page. I fully get it. My ask or my quest or my feedback is there a way to take this and like, if I hit NFTs, it only shows me NFTs, or if I hit tokens, it only shows me tokens. Like, can we remove the, the banner, the whatever you call this thing with the, the collections, and just show numbers? Because the one thing that I noticed, I didn't notice until I looked at the OpenSea page here, is Gboy is up 44% on the day, back up to almost 10 million. I'm still holding the allocation I got. Didn't think about selling it yet, but good to see it running a bit. You got Moncock up 76% of the day, Milady Cult up 69% of the day. So even while Pepe is, as far as like higher market cap leaders, some really high performance from some of these tokens. And yeah, like I said, the Miladies are not down. Like, that was incorrect data. They are actually leading the charge in terms of NFTs after the Vitalik PFP swap, up 20, and the Beeple, up 28% of the day to 1.08. Pudgies are up 6.9% to 4.3. Hypers down just basically flat. Primates, not sure what that is. Apes are at 4.35. We've maybe exited the PvP era when Apes and Pudgies are within 0.02 ETH of each other, and you don't hear anyone talking about flipping the other one or anyone dunking on them. Maybe we've matured enough to where it doesn't really matter, and we should be rooting for all. Moonbird's up 13% on the day. Little Pudgy's up 11%. Remilio Baby's up 42%. Mutant's up 2%. Doodles, as I mentioned, up 15%. Infinex, with the ICO coming, the patrons are up 6.4%. VFriends down on the day, but still holding that 1.13. Azuki up 4%. Mythic's up, down slightly. Just a exciting day in the markets that we haven't seen in a while. Maybe it's dead cat bounce, maybe it's nothing, or maybe we have turned the corner here into the new year. And I hope so. Not just for quote unquote my bags. I hope so for the space. I hope so for the teams like OpenSea that are building, that have a TG upcoming. The teams like Mega ETH. I see Brett out there. Like, I want to see these teams do well. And I imagine those TGEs, those tokens, perform much better in a market that's ripping like this, as opposed to one where October 10th through the end of the year, where most things were just down only. And it wasn't even like, yeah, there was a crash on October 10, but I think more discerning is like every pump seemed to get sold off, and it was lower lows. We kept remaking lower lows and lower lows. So I know I'm jumping back and forth. Spent more time on memes and NFTs than I was thinking, but it does play into this ETH thesis that I pinned up top, which I'm diving into now. By the way, Steve, you have open co-host or open speaker seat privileges anytime. If you ever want to get up and just commiserate about the Buckeyes, this seat is yours, or any of these topics. But in all seriousness, I would love to see, and maybe it's that page on OpenSea stays exactly the same, but maybe this is just a me thing, and I don't expect engineers to solve for a single person. But I do like the data, and as OpenSea becomes that everything app. There really isn't a good place right now to where you can just go see good charts. Like Deck Screener kind of sucks. I default to CoinMarketCap. I don't even know why. It's probably just because I do know why. I think it's when I Google search, it is usually like the first. If I type in ETH chart or if I type in CoinMarket or Park chart, it's usually the first link that pops up. And I just haven't created a habit where I have one bookmark that's not CoinMarketCap. But point being is I think the data side is, you look at some of the traffic some of these websites hit, and they really don't do a whole lot other than just they aggregate data. I think there could be something there with the focus. Just my thoughts, but I want to pull up this. Yeah, Steve, getting some love in the abstract chat as well. People, not just today. Often people are will hit a topic and it will invoke some memories, and they will. Since I just I know I'm jumping around here. I will get back to this ETH bull posting conversation in a second. But since we're on the topic, I got to show this. And I know I just said PvP is over, but Mudtooth says, "Hey Grok, remove the worst NFT project from this image." He showed apes, pudgies, and punks, and it removed pudgies. I don't know why I find this one funny, but it's much better than the alternative that was flooding the timeline the day prior, or the couple days prior. New year, new market. Yeah, I agree, Diablito. It feels good. Let's see it continue. Now back to regularly scheduled programming here and this ETH smart money. And not only do I think it's good for token, my GM post this morning was, I do think it could be the year of ETH. We had the ETF last year, we had the Tom Lee bull posting and media tour. It just maybe just the overall market, it just never had its moment. I don't feel, for all that's being built in crypto and so much of that taking place on ETH, so much of that taking place, so much DeFi activity taking place on ETH. It just seems like it's underpriced. And I think there's a couple other posts with some price targets, but this more so than any price targets, this chart that I got put up on screen here now, this chart shows wallets holding anywhere from 10,000 to 100,000 ETH in their balances, and they've gone parabolic. So after spending years declining, these wallets are now back near all-time highs and climbing fast. Simple terms, the biggest Ethereum holders are accumulating aggressively. Look at this. What you're looking at here, this is balances over or between 10K and 100K, and just, again, all-time highs. So there's over 4,000 wallets now that fall in that range. That can't be right. It could have been as low as 10 to 20. That's insane if true. Someone needs to check this chart on me, because that's crazy if it got down to 20 wallets, 10 wallets that had between 10 and 100,000 ETH. Good time. I'm going to go check the strategic ETH reserve. We haven't looked at that for a while. That was one of my favorite websites for a minute. So we're going to go right over there, check in on these strategic ETH reserve companies. Looking at this is in ETH amounts here. Bitmine, as we know, wants to accumulate 5% of the total supply. They're currently sitting at 3.36. They're up 9% in the last month. Sharplink Gaming, they're sitting on just under 1 million ETH at 836,000. Ether Machine, ETH Foundation is in fourth now. BitDigital, Coinbase. There's now 68, about the same amount. I think it was 68, 69 last time we had the chart pulled up. If we look at ETFs, I haven't been tracking this. Nothing really it's actually mostly red in December. A lot of net outflows for the month. And it lags a little bit. So we'll see. I have to imagine with the start to the year here, we probably see an uptick or we probably see some net inflows kicking off January, if I were to guess. So that's pinned up top, as well as, Cloud had a post on it. And then let me pull up this William Mauger. I don't know how to say the name. It's too hard for me to pronounce it. Not enough coffee. He gives some crazy price targets for ETH in 2026. Wrong name. This is Oh, that's the wrong post. Here we go. Don't know who William is. He could be. I mean, these are just made up price targets, but he does bring some data to support it. If ETH were to get to $1 trillion market cap, I'd put ETH price at $8,300. By 2027, we might finally achieve the 10K ETH 10K meme if this is accurate. William, I guess, is an author of the Business Blockchain, Token Summit investor, Ethereum researcher, and then ETHMRC.com. First time seeing it, I'm not even following the guy, so it's his own report here. But a couple things I want to point out is gas on ETH right now is 0.2 GUI. There's activity. It's just, I think they've got it down to a point like, why? So trying to think how I attack this, because I don't want to be attacking like the abstracts of the world. I'm still excited for that TG. I hope it does well. I think it'll do better in a market like this than what we were dealing with in December. I think it's becoming increasingly important because ETH can function now. ETH, like, you're not dealing with double digit or triple digit or 4-digit gas fees to get a transaction done on ETH. The price of gas is negligible. Like, it's probably less than most traditional payment rails currently. I'm not saying ETH mainnet is going to be the payment rails of the future, but and there's things like Temple and specific chains being built out to support payments at scale. My point is, I think it's going to become increasingly important for these L2s to have a flagship DApp or DApps and to have a real unique selling proposition. As much as I love the abstract portal and streaming over there, that's not it. That's not enough. Like, they need more than streaming. They need more than just a good looking portal to give users a reason to want to do things on their chain. Like, why go to a layer 2 if you can transact at about the same cost on mainnet? Well, there are, like I mentioned, Mega ETH, not just because Bread's in the audience. As y'all know, I'm also a little biased as a Hold Fluffle, got in the one of the rounds and rooting for them. I like how they're building as much as what they're building, the very performant blockchain and high transaction per second and that Web 2-esque experience on chain. That's a unique selling proposition. That is not just the performance of the chain, but how they're building it. The dApps are going to have it launched. It's exciting. Conversely, Monad launched and the most used dApp was a beer pong game. That's not it. It's not going to cut it. Now, I don't think Monad's dead. My bold take earlier this week was Mega ETH puts themselves in the winner of the cycle, puts themselves in the conversation alongside majors this year. People forget about Monad. And then by the end of the year, like Q3, Q4, I think Monad will have a comeback. I think I don't know what it'll be. I think it's going to be DApp driven. I think but there's just too much capital. There's too much funding in that ecosystem. And the investors are some of the savvier bunch. I wouldn't be surprised if it's slept on for a bit. People forget about it, go to new shiny toys, and then it has a comeback. But it's not going to happen without some sort of unique DApp, something that differentiates it from mainnet. And my one gripe or concern or frustration with ETH is that as they use L2s as the scaling thesis, it was too advantageous to the bases of the world. The L2s were making more money than was ETH, and that just didn't make any sense. I felt that the fee split it never made sense to me. Not as a non-technical person, couldn't understand why ETH was letting base earn more revenue than mainnet. Not taking shots at base, just easy example. By the way, related to this topic, and this is one other chart. I'm going to go, not chart, but some dollar amounts. I'm going to pin up top here in a second. Before I do, Florida Jokers requesting Steve says, OS star player can't be sitting in the crowd, man. You earned the right to sit up there. He's probably busy. He's probably working. He's probably, he probably took that feedback I just gave him, kicked it off to the dev team, and already get him to work on this new charting. That'll have to be the daily market update brought to you by Steve for making my request, my dreams come true. I kid. sorry, it's taking me a second here to pull this up. I will get to it. And my question, though, before I pin it up top, is what do you think were the leading dApps, leading protocols, leading DeFi protocols in 2025 in terms of revenue earned? What are the top three? Guess in the top three revenue purely revenue generation. I've got two numbers. This is first one. I'll come back to another one that I think is also a good one. We talk about TGEs, the biggest airdrops of all time. But looking at DeFi protocols ranked by total fees generated in 2025, without looking or without going to Andy's account, what the first one I would have guessed was not in the top three. It actually came just shy of $1 billion. Many of you will probably have a similar guess. Let me pin this up top now, and then I will pull it up on stage. You got like 30 seconds to get your guess in before I disclose it here on the screen and spoil the fun. But this was somewhat surprising to me. This, if Drew guesses Flow, it was not Flow. What's Andy's? Oh, there's Streetwise. Here we go. Andy, the founder at the Rollup, says this. I believe it's accurate data. I did not double check, but DeFi protocols ranked by total fees generated in 2025. Meteora, 1.25 billion. Jupiter, 1.1 billion. Uniswap, over $1 billion. Then Pump Fund, almost $1 billion. Hyperliquid, 900 million. Lido, 800 million. Jito, 800 million. Aave, 800 million. Radium, 600 million. PancakeSwap, 500 million. Then he followed up with predictions for 26. Hyperliquid, Jupiter, Uniswap, Meteora, Pump Fund. Meteora, Jupiter, Pump Fund. What do they have in common? 3 of the top 4. What do they have in common? They're on Solana. And maybe some multi-chain, but when I think of all 3 of those, I think of Solana. That matters, right? Like, why is Solana why is it a major? Well, it has volume, it has activity, it has dApps. It is, while people may not think of Solana, they may think more Solana meme coins than DeFi. That's part of the meme coin game, is DeFi, and this stuff matters. You have these major dApps that people are obviously using. There's a massive usage to generate these fees. That's very good for the underlying chain. You know, Hyperliquid. Why do you think Hype and Hyper EVM was a golden child of 25? Well, they had a perp dex that became the talk of the town and generated a lot of revenue, nearly $1 billion last year. That's insanely impressive. I still question their strategy of using nearly all that to go buy back a token, their own token. Maybe I just missed that whole thing, but I can't fathom building a business. I've never done this. That's probably why I can't fathom, but I can't fathom building a business that generates nearly $1 billion in year one and then not having any of that cash to show for it, or very little. Yeah, they could maybe think, we're going to continue to make 80 to 100 million a month. This also space has known for fleeting attention and new shiny toys. And one thing I'm certain is there'll be a lot more perp decks launched in 2026. I think it's probably going to be, I've seen several people actually on the timeline in the last 24 hours, from Kook to ICO and many others. That's, if you're talking about farms and upcoming TGEs, find the next perp decks. Brad, I specifically asked Kook, what is, because Kook was being sly about it. He knows how to internet and was doing a good job of driving engagement by not giving up the perp decks he's bullish on. And he's only got a few invite codes. I said, if it's going to be the leading perp dex on Mega Gib, I as I'm going to immerse myself in that ecosystem, I do think, because of how performant the chain is, it makes sense to me that it would be a great place to trade perps, and people are looking to trade perps. There's going to be a lot of vested users that are locked up for at least 12 months, going to be looking to do something on Mega ETH. And while there is going to be a lot more than just trading perps on Mega ETH at launch, I think that will be probably whatever one it is, probably becomes a lead dApp, a flagship dApp, if you will, on Mega ETH. Of this list here, I would say the exception that I don't see it replicating its results in 2026. and I don't see others like copy pasting it would be Pump Fun. I think I'm not saying meme launch pads go away. I'm not saying Pump Fun goes away. It's hard for me to see it playing out where it has the same level of success it had last year. Because there's going to be a lot more competition. There's going to be a lot more not only meme launchers, but other chains that people are going to look to do this stuff. And I just the volume, it just seems way down. I think if you remember when they came out pre-ICO, it's like, oh, we're gonna take on Facebook and Twitch, and none of that's happening. Those creator coins mostly went to zero, and it's just they seem to have lost the majority of their momentum and user base. And I would guess of the 937 million they generated last year, I'm going to guess like 75% of that was in the first half of the year. I don't know that for a fact, truly just guessing, but I think this is interesting. I think it's also makes me bullish Solana, that because I don't see Meteora going anywhere. I don't see Jupiter going anywhere. Pump Fun, I'm not bullish on. I'm not going to long that token, but it's certainly noteworthy at the least. And I am really Breeze on Huddle adds, that beer pong game is from the team that started on abs. Crazy enough. Not surprised. Pivoting from here, not full pivot, but yeah, he's referring to, okay, so here we go. I'm going to pin this up top. It's the first time I saw World Capital Markets. It says the culmination of 5,000 years of financial history. It is, looks like it is part of the Mega Mafia, which if you're not familiar, that's like the incubator essentially of Mega ETH, where they have these hacker houses, and they've been working with a lot of their builders pre-launch, not just launching. Okay, like who wants to come build here? Identifying, in some cases, they're helping fund these startups. And I'll pin this up top for those of you who want to check out. But if you're going to go set up an account, let me go create my own and get a ref link for you first. A kid. If someone wants to front run me and drop it in the chat, feel free to do so. But I just dropped that up top. This is per bread. He says this is in fact what Kook was talking about. I love all of you that get a kick out of me pronouncing Kook or however I'm probably saying it different every time. So World Capital Markets introducing Atlas. World Capital Markets killer feature. The heart of WCM is Universal Margin Account powered by Atlas, a risk engine many years in the making. Atlas allows you to maximize the productivity of everything you own across spot, perps, and lending. Most exchanges think about what you can buy, meme coins, new VC coin, etc., but ignore how your dollars are used across your entire portfolio. Atlas changes more leverage, simultaneously my heartstrings there. Simultaneously use all the same collateral across spot, perps, and this is also I'm such a degenerate. Like this, it gets me excited. It's also, oh man, people are going to get so wrecked. Like just thinking now, like there's going to be someone that spins up an account here and they've got, I don't know, they load up a 10K in their account and they put 5K in spot and 5K in perps, and they go on vacation. They come back and all their accounts are zeroed out because it's taking cross margin to a whole nother level. Please don't trade on leverage until you know what you're getting into. It's fun. If you want to feel something, you don't have to go buy a sub 100K market cap meme coin. Go trade Bitcoin at 40x leverage for a day. Go trade ETH at 40x leverage for a day. Like you can get your dopamine rush by trading those charts on extreme leverage, and just don't look away from the screen if you do so. But in all seriousness, please, I'm not joking. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't do what I do when it comes to perp trading. Like educate. I mean, I did educate myself. I've also paid I paid my tuition, the last chunk of which came out on October 10th. And shout out to Lighter for almost making me whole with the airdrop. But again, digressing here, going back to the WCM's killer features, in addition to more leverage, more yield, earn yield across idle assets for using them as collateral. I said this the other day. It was like, while I did lean into DeFi tools last cycle, particularly NFTFi, I was early to that, and it allowed me to build a very large portfolio without having to inject fresh capital. I just kept tapping into the liquidity I had in these NFTs. going to the new mint, flipping those, paying off the loan, rinse, repeat. Did it again and again and again and again. And I mean, I probably had, I don't know, well over 100 NFTFi transactions. It can work in multiple ways, not only dry powder and tapping into your assets for that liquidity. It also is a way to kind of indirectly put stop losses on some of this stuff. Like I have told the story, my Moonbird, which is one of the most expensive NFT buys I ever had, it was on mint day. I think it was like just under 10 ETH. ETH was probably, if I remember, around 3K. So it was about a $30,000 NFT buy. Sounds crazy saying that out loud now. And so bought it for 30, and I took out a 6-month USD loan on it. It was maybe a month or two later, it ran up to higher than that. It, topped over 100K. And then at some point, I took out a 6-month USDC loan at pretty low rates because it was a poppin' NFT collection and a lot of activity. And long story short, after the 6 months, I think the floor price was like 3K. I just let the birdie fly. And essentially, it was the equivalent, not of selling the NFT at 16K, because on a loan, it's not income. There's no, speak to your accountant, please. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm certainly not an accountant. But it's not counted as income. Now, I guess you could look at it both ways, because I could have booked a tax loss had I bought it for 30 and sold for 16. So it wouldn't have been capital gains per se. Anyways, let's say I bought it for 200 and it ran up to 30. And then I take out the USDC and let that thing fly. Did I make money on the Moonbird? No, but I was able to use that liquidity. I made money on that liquidity by putting it back in the market, making my capital, my assets, not passive, but active, using my assets to make more money. And then when the thing came due and it was way underwater, I just let it fly. And it ended up being a great tool for me last cycle. But in hindsight, I was really one-dimensional last cycle. Was I was using NFTFi. That was about it. My DeFi was very limited. I wasn't providing liquidity. So instead of pulling out liquidity and putting it into an LP or going and getting yield on stables, I was just minting. And maybe in hindsight probably was the right thing to do, because it was NFT mania, and it was hard to see better returns than if you were dialed in and you knew which NFT mints were going to run. It was kind of an easy game. It was the easiest game I've ever played in my entire life. The NFT mania was it was hard not to make money. No offense to anyone who didn't. But even those who probably said, oh, I lost money on NFTs, I'm guessing this probably because they ended up round tripping some stuff. Like if you were here during the mania, it was like shooting fish in a barrel, literally. Like it was very hard to miss. Not everyone hit, but if you were firing 10 times, it wasn't like you were hitting 1 out of 10. You were hitting like 8 or 9 out of 10. And the hits sometimes would be 200 into 20K. Like it was insane. So while probably as I'm reflecting here in real time, probably while I did well on the NFT front, it probably prevented me from exploring some of the rest of DeFi. I was late to DeFi. I missed DeFi summer 2020, summer 2020. A lot of people crushed in DeFi summer. I came in January 21 and was in the NFT class. It never went backwards to explore the rest of DeFi until maybe a little bit in 24, but reality was probably like 25. And as I reflect back, like, man, the incremental gains I could have had I just used more DeFi tools. And I share all this to say that I think this is going to be a huge meta for 2026. Not just the people who are deep in DeFi already, the people who are here part of the DeFi summer class of 2020. I think and maybe this isn't the case, but I do think things like World Capital Markets and others, and maybe it's the native the native perp dex itself, and or a combination of whether they're automating or helping automate positions, or incorporation of AI agents helping automate positions. Maybe it's not ready for normies yet, but I do think most of us that are here, you should, if you're sitting on stables, you better be making, you should be making yield on that right now. No questions asked. You shouldn't just be sitting with stables in your wallet and not earning anything on it. There is protocol risk. There's smart contract risk. Yes. But there's some now that are quite literally $1 billion protocols that, you should be feeling some sense of security by, don't put it all in one place, right? Like diversified, your not just your portfolio, but your risk when it comes to smart contract risk and protocol risk. The overarching point is I do think more and more opportunities like this are going to exist. I'm really excited to dive deeper on this one because I am extremely bullish mega ETH. Here's an example it gives. Speaking, it knew I was going to talk about the ETH Maxi today. Talks about example in the ETH Maximalist. You're a diehard ETH bull. God bless you. I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up hope. I've yet to capitulate at the bottom, and it's been painful. But 2020, this is going to sound like brilliant when we play this back in January of 27, or I'm going to be like, oh my God, Chris, give it up. ETH is never gonna get there. The picture, I love holding ETH, but I want more. $5 ETH put into WCM, you get a $50 ETH long, you get 3% APY on ETH, and you get $5 spot ETH at the same time. So take your $5 a spot, you still have your $5 a spot, you're earning 3% on the ETH, and you can light up a $50 ETH levered long. This is the way. This is not just the way for like what they're building, I think is where DeFi wins. I think this is how, kind of going back to the Robinhood versus Coinbase conversation, this is what will bring retail into DeFi, this sort of stuff, not them figuring out how to set up a liquidity pool, rather than simple user interface that allows them to make more money off their money than they would make in a bank or in their Coinbase account from staking. So appreciate you sharing. I'm going to dive deeper on this. Won't be the last time we talk about world capital markets, because as soon as I get off the show, I'm going to create my account and I'm going to be shilling my ref link as early as tomorrow or early as Monday. So thanks for that one, Brad. And since you're out there, we got a ref link, Dobbins, the OG. I'm going to pin that up top. If you're here and you want to front run my ref link, go hit Dobbins, longtime friend of the show, just a friend, and deserved of your referral clicks. So he was first one I saw in the chat giving WCM some love. I pinned that up top. Go give Dobbins some love if you want to go check that out. If you sleep on it, wait till tomorrow and I'll hit up another one as well. But in all seriousness, go give Dobbins some love. Well deserving. Rewinding my brain here a little bit, and the monologue is pushing an hour. So at some point I may need to, we also have some new ideas talking about new changes to the show. I've got we're going to do some videos at some point that'll give me my 60 seconds to go refill the coffee. Payne smiling in the green room. My 60 seconds to go refill my coffee and mobile stream drops where I don't have to pee in a cup below my, below. People talk about you have to wear pants to podcast. I don't know what they're talking about. Maybe I guess if you go to a podcast studio, you should put pants on. I'm definitely not wearing pants today. I'm wearing clothes, but they're definitely not pants. Shorts. I'm wearing shorts. Get your name out. Get your head out of the gutter. I'm just wearing shorts. But there has been once or twice where I have maybe not made it mobile for the stream drop. I'll just leave it at that. Steve, I can see Steve shaking his head already. He leaves the show for a couple months and I'm already off the rails and talking about pissing at the desk. I'm not struggling how I'm going to get back on topic here. Hard pivot back into real conversation about all things, not just ETH bull posting or mega ETH bull posting, but actually TGs and airdrops. We had the big list the other day, 40 of them actually, and even talking through the list of 40. I'll see if I can go find that again. I'll put it up top if anyone missed it. But it's not just 40. There's actually a lot more. We're probably talking well in excess of 50 airdrops, 50 TGs, 50 token generation events coming in 2025. Mel says clothing optional. This has really changed since Steve. Yeah. Clothing optional, the hats backwards. Oh, true story. Payne can attest. I might have to bring Payne on screen just so he can confirm. Guess chat, where do you think what inspired the backwards hat? There's two things. There's a person and there's a second thing of why I did it. And it's probably going to be the new look in 2026. I got to figure out how to tuck my hair away though. It looks kind of janky. Definitely boxers, actually boxer briefs in not just any kind. KB. They've got to be bamboo. The War Room knows why bamboo, but yeah, bamboo boxers, bamboo boxer briefs for many reasons. You don't want those microplastics in your especially if you're still in the baby making age. You got to protect those boys down there, and it's either 100% cotton or bamboo. You got to stop wearing the polyester on your balls. I'm sorry, it's not good for you. Even if you're not in the baby making age, if you retired that era, I don't think you want microplastic in those guys. I don't. So yeah, bamboo boxer briefs or 100% cotton. But back to things serious conversation. The backwards hat. Why? Well, one, I noticed as we talk about more video and do more clips, I've got a ring light, and if I'm wearing my hat forward, it puts a shadow on half my face. So, Brad, I don't know if it was tactical for the same reason, or you just like rocking the backwards hat. I actually don't mind rocking a backwards hat. I just thought, it's a professional show. Steve's on here with his fancy hair. I should probably look like at least put the hat forwards. But we were talking about lighting and video, and we went to go look at a modern market as an example. And sure enough, Brad's rocking the backwards hat. And I go, I'm going to rock the backwards hat. See if anyone's. I'm kind of disappointed. No one commented on the backwards hat yesterday, but this is the new look for doing it for the lighting, inspired by Brad. So shout out, you're inspiring other hosts and creators. Someday we may up our actual production and go to like OBS and get some cool fancy tickers and stuff. But in the meantime, you've at least you've inspired the backwards hat gang. So if this was 2021, not even exaggerating, by this time tomorrow, there'd be a 10,000 PFP collection minting for free or 0.01 ETH, that it would be every KOL on crypto Twitter rocking a backwards hat. That would be the NFT collection. And it would mint for free or 0.01. And by next Friday, it'd be trading at like somewhere between 0.69 and 1 ETH. Not even kidding. You think that's dumb and silly? That was a silly world we were living in. So yeah, please don't go mint the backwards hat collection. If it drops in the next 24 hours, it'll go to 0, not 1 ETH. But I digress. Backwards hat gang is here to, yes, Veggie Dave, perfect GIF. Oh my goodness, chat is. Not often we just screen share the comments, but chat's on fire today. Chat is dialed in. Co-producers of the show today are Veggie Dave. My inspiration, it was Bread, and then it was how do you do, fellow kids GIF. And then, yes, Zonko really wins the day with the George Costanza. Anytime you can incorporate a George Costanza GIF in the chat, if the Buckeye didn't invoke Steve, the Seinfeld bull posting and George Costanza bull posting might be the thing that gets him up here, because maybe there's other shows. Maybe there's better shows in the history of television. It's debatable. George Costanza is one of the best characters of all time, and that's hard to debate. Even if you're not a Seinfeld fan, hard to debate the excellence of George Costanza. I'm also a Kramer fan, but I get he's not everyone's cup of tea. George Costanza, one of the best. Also, chat being undefeated. I don't even know why, but it would not be a Coffee with Captain if we did not have Mel taking shots at Gary Vee. Find you someone in your life that will dislike your enemies as much as Mel dislikes Gary Vee. Like, that's how you find a partner in life, is find someone who would dislike your enemies and have your back, going at those enemies, as much as Mel dislikes Gary Vee and V Friends. I have some ideas of what Gary and V Friends did to hurt Mel, but I don't even really know the root cause of it. It's a topic for another day, but appreciate the chat. And yeah, Seinfeld is the best. Seinfeld's so good that Steve once requested a birthday cake with Seinfeld on it. Yeah, we kind of missed Festives. We were a day late on Festive this year. That won't happen again. We will be all the way back in 2025. This whole time I've forgotten. I'm not sure if I go with $1 billion airdrops or ETH to 10K. I'm going $1 billion airdrops for the title. And that's what we're going to show you next. It was, I asked, I haven't got the answer yet. Yeah, Velocity, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Same. I have not got the answer yet. I did ask the question of the original poster, what was this at TGE? Was this 24 hours after TGE? The value of these airdrops. The biggest airdrops of all time. I think maybe not everyone. I think a lot on this list. This list, let me say it this way. This list is going to look very, very different at the end of 2026. I feel very confident that, especially if the market is even remotely responsive to, if we don't get a big sell-off, if we don't get something crazy, maybe the top 5, maybe the top 7 are tough to beat, but I think almost certainly we see multiple billion-dollar airdrops in 2026. Maybe that's aggressive. Maybe that's too big of a number. Here's the post I was referring to. I'm not even following Faria. Usually if it's an ape, I'm not following it. Might be very well could be a InfoFi farmer, or I don't know. So take this for what it's worth. I did not check the math. I did ask, is that amount airdrop the TG, or they're directionally accurate here in the sense that I can, without checking the math and the actual data, I can attest that Uniswap, ApeCoin, DYDX, Arbitrum, ENS, Hyperliquid, Bonk were all billion-dollar airdrops. Maybe the numbers are off a little bit. The rest list, Blur, Celestia, and 1inch. This probably is not a wholly accurate top 10. Maybe it is. But the question is, do we see another 1 billion plus airdrop in 2026, or was that error a one-time blessing? I don't think it was a one-time blessing. I do think, let me say this, it different in the sense that airdrops are very different from what they once were. So calling it an airdrop, like an apples to apples, might be inaccurate. Maybe we don't see $1 billion airdropped, but I do believe there will be token generation events where the users, the community, the ecosystem, whatever you want to call it, receive $1 billion plus of tokens. So for instance, talking Mega ETH, I know they're going to have a rewards program. Most of those tokens at TGE are going to go to their investors, going to go to the ICO participants, going to go to the Fluffle holders. Then those that have participated in those early sales, they're going to be in the first season to earn more rewards. So maybe there's not a quote unquote $1 billion airdrop for rewards at one time. I do think there'll likely be $1 billion plus of tokens distributed at some point, let's say over the course of 2026. Uniswap, that was a different era. ENS, also a different era, back in the days of like true airdrops. I'm surprised some historian helped me, because what was it? Pancake Swap? Sushi Swap was the first vampire attack on Uniswap, right? I thought Sushi Swap was or whatever was the first one to vampire Uniswap. I thought it too was $1 billion airdrop. I thought market. So it might have been Pancake, might have been Sushi Swap, but one of those dexes, probably multiple actually, forked and vampire attacked Uniswap. And I thought they were also $1 billion plus airdrops. Maybe I'm wrong. ApeCoin at 3.5 billion. I would like to dive into the data on that, because I wonder if that was TG day, and then as we know, it ran up to 20 billion market cap. And I think more of that went to the community. I could be wrong. Overarching point, the actual point being here is, yesterday we just covered a list of 40 upcoming TGs. It's not even all inclusive. It was missing several big ones. I think there's realistically 50 plus token generation events coming in 2026. We've never seen that before. So if we think about past cycles, we talk about DeFi summer in 2020. We talk about NFT mania in 21, 22. We talk about meme coin mania in 24 to January of 25. What might be the catalyst for a raging bull in 2026? More and more, I think it could be the free magical internet money. I think it could be the era of not InfoFi farming, not button clicking farming, but actual users getting rewarded for their participation in the form of these TGEs in the form of large percentage of these token generation events going to the community, going to their active users, going to the those that are not just parking liquidity. Like, yeah, sure, that'll work. But I think it's going to be, and also not just transactions. I think as the space has matured, I feel as if, well, was it nice just to wake up one day and get a stimmy in your wallet? It was. Shout out to Lighter for doing a good job on that. They just woke up and decided, hey, it's TGE day, and everyone who's used our platform and earned points, your tokens are in your wallet. You don't have to do anything. I still think there's going to be some hybrid model of ICO meets airdrop. In some cases, it might be at TGE. In some cases, it might be seasons or campaigns following. It's reasonable for these protocols to want to reward actual users, not just farmers, not just vampire. Like the industry has changed. So to think like, oh, why can't we go back to just ENS just airdropping us a bunch of tokens if we had a registered domain? Well, it's because if you're a team, if you're the business, why would you do that? Like, you can do that. And I think it's not an or, it's an and. It's just like OpenSea. Why don't you just reward your OG users in the historical data? You have all that. Well, they are, but they're also leveraging their upcoming TGE to drive more activity in the rewards program, which, as I understand, will be ongoing. And it just makes sense. Like, you only got one shot. After you drop your token, I mean, I guess you can drop another one, but good luck. You've got one shot. And so I think it is increasingly important for these teams, these protocols, to nail it. The timing's important. The market conditions are important. But also the how they do it is very important. And I don't think they should make people jump through 87 hoops and connect every account and do full KYC. It's not what I'm saying. I respect, appreciate, can understand why they'd want you to do more. Not to keep going back to Mega ETH, but as my understanding how that reward ecosystem is going to work, it's going to be kind of gated. Some people aren't going to like that. I think these protocols should be doubling down on their early users, should be doubling down on their earliest supporters. It's how you build loyalty and sustainability. Because what happens when they just open it up to all? It's just the farmers. It's the extractors. It's the mercenary capital. That is proven to be a net negative, not even a short-term win. I think it's most of those that come in and just use a protocol to extract an airdrop, and then they never use the protocol again after they get their airdrop. I think that's a net negative. I think it hurts the protocols. I think it crushes their momentum. I think often we've seen charts that open up. I mean, most of the TGEs last year, they opened up and they were like, they're down 90%. Well, for a couple of reasons. One, they just awarded everyone, people that had never used their platform before, people that they just came and clicked buttons and just farmed with no real, or it was the other route. It was just fully InfoFi or a combination of the two where, yeah, you could post a bunch of AI slop on the timeline and those people got big token allocate. What do you think they did with the token? And if there's nothing to do with the token other than sell it, like, it's not going to play out well. So it was kind of surprising we saw so many teams continue to make the same mistakes in 2025. Maybe I'm overly optimistic, but sorry, I'm getting distracted by the God damn it, War Room. At first I thought I was getting confirmation that WCM is we're getting double, triple tapping. I quote Phonics. Oh, wow. Oh, WCM. Okay, what is this? Interesting. A few sharp hyper liquid accounts follow them too. Let me see if I can get early access. And he's currently 171,477 on the wait list. Assuming those are real users, not bots, that shows quite a bit of demand. I'm not even going to say what distracted me, but Von Front, you're going to quickly lose copyright or privileges if that's the kind of content you're going to serve up to me. If you care, if you want to know more about it, you're going to have to go to DJ and Pass and hop in the War Room, because I can't, this is also a conversation Payne and I had recently. Find yourself a more eclectic place on the internet where you can have people who are completely polar opposites from their personalities, from their political affiliations or support to their backgrounds. Like, it is maybe the most diverse group of backgrounds I've ever, and can carry on 17 different topics, conversations all simultaneously. And somehow you can usually end up having, like, it's just, I don't even know how to explain it. I'm not doing it justice, but I guess maybe he had OnlyFans on his mind is why the Lily Phillips breaking news. If anyone, I just, Lily Phillips got baptized apparently. The headline is Lily Phillips, who had sex with 1,113 men in 12 hours, turns to Christ and gets baptized. Yeah, I don't know what to do with that information. I don't know if it's bullish or bearish. We also had the pickle conversation, not that kind of pickle. The not the one you eat either, but rather the new VR glasses. Cool if real. I don't think they're real. Maybe they are, and maybe some startup has somehow figured out how to ship hardware that Apple and Samsung and Meta and Google and none of them have been able to figure out yet. I guess it's possible. Anything's possible, but I will buy it when I actually see it. I got another list here I'm going to share. Shout out to producer Payne and Katie, and thank you for helping me get back on point here. Get my brain out of the war room and back onto airdrops. Here's 69 of them to farm in 2026. I'll pin this up top in a second. Abstract on the list. Pip World. I just saw this recently too, and I asked, what is Pip World? The list lost me right off the gate. So I'm not saying it's a bad list. Scribbler, DeFi Scribbler. I will check it out, and I'll give you a follow back for the list. Thank you. He says, for anyone starting with low capital, they say for anyone starting with low capital, airdrops are the best way to get capital, start your crypto journey. I would agree. If you're starting with zero, time is your capital. I also agree. Be ruthless with your time, plan day to day, cut distractions, grind like marinas do every day. Projects are listed in this order. Project name. Okay, so that makes me feel better. It's alphabetical order. Maybe. No, it's not. Because Pip World's number 2. Website. Oh, it just says what the bullet points are. So name, website link, about the project, how to farm, rating. Lost me at the first one because Abstract is not an L1 blockchain, and you give it an 8 out of 10. I don't know how they get there. The badges are cool. XP, I guess, is okay. Streaming's okay. They're going to have to do something different. They're going to have to land a flagship DApp. They're going to have to do something different. Otherwise, that TG is not going to be. I think Luke is on record wanting to be a $20 billion market cap. I don't know how they get there, or even close to it, even 1/10 of that with the current stuff they have going for it. Not taking shots. I'm streaming over there every day. I just, yeah, I do need Jambert. Thanks, King Teach Katie. I'm catching up on Abstract Chat now. So it was my order of operations was Payne's private chat in the group chat. He saw. So here's the alpha. Here's real alpha for the show. If you ever want me to highlight something, yes, you can hit it in the chat. I will likely get it there. If you really want to prioritize it, get Payne's attention. And Payne has the passcode to get me put it in my private chat where there's very few comments, like a couple chats per show, or just drop it in the comments in Abstract or YouTube or X Spaces. If you don't want me to see it until like July of 2026, you can DM me the alpha. But the Jambert also adds backwards hat only work with fitted. I agree. I need to up my fitted game hat if I'm going to rock the backwards hat, but this is all I got for now. So, I mean, I have some fitted hats, just not with me, as I've been a digital nomad for a few months. Back to this list, however. Lost me at Abstract. Not saying it's bad. It's not an L1. That's factually incorrect. It's an L2 off ETH. 8 out of 10 seems really aggressive. Not sure what Pip World is. Katana. DeFi on Polygon. Cool. 7 out of 10 seems fair. Base. To give Base an 8 out of 10, the same as Abstract, is wild. Now, maybe it's because Base is going to be more crowded and a lot more participants than Abstract, but becoming very bullish Base. Oshi is another one. Melee Markets. Predictably. Backpack. I'm just going to pin this up top. Euphoria. That's another mega ETH one I'm excited about. Some new, novel May not stick, but it is certainly a novel new interface, and it's caught my attention. Myriad Markets, they actually just got a shout out from AI16Z. I'll go pull that article in a minute, but they also referenced their volume, which not my place to out, but I would question the legitimacy or accuracy rather of their volume, how real it is. A lot of the volume came on a few markets, and they just today they don't have a lot of liquidity. They don't have a lot of markets. I'm bullish prediction markets, and I thought one on chain and crypto native could be a great place to go, and might still be. They need more liquidity. They need more markets to really make a going concern. I'm rooting for them. I hope they do. Just scanning. Ethos is another one we've talked about. Yeet, another one. Our friends over there. Open Mind. I've heard a lot of people talking about that, but that's one I've not dove into myself. Kalshi, maybe they TGE. I'm not sure. Zeet, fan, advisor. DeFi Tuna, Polymarket again may or may not do a TGE in 2026. Digitals, one of a competitor to like Beezy. MetaWin, another casino. Project X, 8 out of 10. That is a hyper EVM. Hey, there's Beezy, our friends. 6 out of 10. That's broken. So you lost me. No, I'm kidding. We are fans of the team over there. Tempo. This is another big one. I think this is one to talk about free and doing some testnet activity. Probably a good one to spend some time on. Predict.fun, Solstice, that's over on Solana. Wall Chain is another. Info5, Yumi, Titan, Jupiter. Pretty sure Jupiter already had their TGE. Maybe they've got another season coming. Same thing with Kaido. I'm guessing this is so this list, I wouldn't read too much in the ratings. Like, it's just opinions, but it is a good list to make sure if there's to kind of scrub and see, okay, is there anything I'm missing, anything I'm not thinking about, anything that hasn't caught your attention yet. Appreciate the post and the detail, but to the earlier point, there probably is, if there's 69 here, there very well might be like well over 100 that actually drop in 2026. Sorry, the new year is still taking me a minute to. I do not think that, Mel. I don't think that's I don't know where she lives. Maybe it is a crime, but I don't know if that's a crime in today's world. Maybe it is. And I don't know if it's ever happened. I can't believe we're talking Lily Phillips on Coffee with Captain today. Again, I blame Von Front, who's been my copywriter, but he's distracting me with nonsensical takes in the war room. 2026 is off to kind of an interesting, some call it maybe weird start, but nevertheless, we New Year's resolution is derailing Cap. I also log in there and more Latina talk. The arepa was good this morning. If you're wondering about or going to critique me for my lack of proper transitions and hard pivots here, fully blame the war room. I may have to stick with abstract, and I just got another one that's launching on the 7th. We may bring them on the show. I got a DM. All kinds of distractions this morning. Good stuff, but yeah, all over the place with news. I'm gonna get back on point here. There's one other article I wanted to share, and then if there's anyone has any comments, questions, drop them in the chat. Throw requests up on stage, open stage. We would happy to talk through any of this. If you have any other takes, anything that we are, Mesh DMing me now. Looking forward to hearing back in August. That's about right. We need market structure bill. Here's the other thing I want to highlight. That'll two things. I mentioned the Rect post. I'm gonna go pin that up top real quick from OSF, and then I want to jump into this AI16Z article, long form article that talks about all the things that they're looking forward to this year, many of which I'll also have an upcoming TGE. But before I jump into the AI16Z article, because it absolutely will be actionable for TGEs or should be actionable for TGEs. Man, if KB is Jeremy and Jeremy just rebranded as KB, I'm going to be disappointed. But you're allowed to talk in all caps. It's fine to get excited. So OSF wrecked. Pull it together, Chris. So what happens when I have to talk for 90 minutes? I have a 90-minute monologue. Wrecked. This is maybe one of the best posts from a founder in terms of like just being candid and raw. And this is his style. But so he goes, I'm not going to read the whole thing in detail, but starts with wrecked. Proof of concept to proof of scale. To put it bluntly, the last year was pretty brutal for meme coins and altcoins, with lots of things going down 90%. Despite that, wreck into the year 30% higher, making it the 34th best performing coin in the top 500. It's pretty impressive. We weren't immune to the market. Despite the above stat, Rect is currently down 82% from its highs, but also notably up 400% from its starting price in November of last year. That's a pretty long post. So the quick TLDR, this is a pretty long post. So to summarize it is this. 2025, we sold over 1 million drinks without any traditional marketing or distribution, partnered with large brands in and outside of crypto, launched in 200 stores across 4 different states, and signed with a distributor with a network to 13,000 retailers. 2026, have the rails in place for customers to claim Rect from drink purchases in store. The first promotion will begin in mid-January. If successful, have the potential to expand to this strategy to a much larger scale with key partners involved. This is what takes Rect drinks from just a small crypto drinks company to being able to compete with the largest players, given that we're the only ones doing this on scale. Full post, and I'll let you read the full post. It is pinned up top. But man, back to those charts. And yeah, they got hit hard. They actually had 3 events in 2025. They had to deal with the Trump sell-off, which probably hit them less than most. Oh no, I take that back. We go all time. So looking at Rect, things were moving. Trump sell-offs, they tank. Oh, it's over. Nope, just kidding. All-time highs in August, and kind of choppy, like the other things we saw, and then boom. Well, actually, boom. October 10th hits, the sell-off begins, and then a month later, maybe it was completely unrelated. I don't think it was. I think there was an IMF, which is an international meme fund. It's basically a way to pull liquidity out of your meme coins. And Rectcoin was on there, and a lot of the large Rectcoin holders were making their capital productive, making their Rectcoin bags. They were long on. They didn't want to sell their Rect, and so they were taking out loans on their Rect. And then there was I don't remember exact the details, but there was basically a crash on the IMF fund, and it led to cascading liquidations. A lot of those holders got wrecked, and people had to sell, so they didn't get wrecked. I believe that was likely, I'm not saying certainly, but I think likely a long-term effect of 1010 and that liquidation crisis. It just took it a month for it to play out in that particular ecosystem. And it was a major crash. It bounced slightly, then sold off again. And it's been climbing. It climbed back up. It certainly not got back to all-time highs. But again, same things we talked about with Pingu and Fartcoin. 2 major industry black swan events in the Trump coin launch, the October 10 dip, and in their case, the October 10 liquidation crisis was in about 30 days in arrears. All that being said, if you believe in the thesis, if you believe in the team, better to buy now as opposed to all-time highs. We buy dips, we sell rips. I'm not saying everyone go run out and buy Rectcoin or go run out and buy Fartcoin. I'm just saying if you're holding these positions, maybe this is a hopium bounce and it's short-lived and things sell off here very soon. And you're wise to sell any small pumps today. If you got a 20% pump in your bag and you went out, well, go sell your bag and move on. I'm also not saying buy the 20% pump. Maybe wait until tomorrow and it maybe pulls back 10%, and that's a better entry point than the 20%. But if you're really long, the difference between buying at a $76 million market cap and a $81 million market cap it's negligible. Like it doesn't really matter. If you think this thing is $1 billion coin, if you enter it 70 million versus 80 million, it doesn't matter in the big picture. It matters if you're going to buy at the Pico top. We're not. I really don't. We're definitely not all time highs. I don't think we're at the Pico top. My TLDR feels like some momentum's building as the year kicks off. Maybe it's early. Maybe it's just, I mean, Crocs did request that I put my Perma Bull hat on. He just didn't know I was going to put it on backwards. So I don't know, man. I feel really good about the market versus I was extremely confused about the market last couple months of the year last year. I still don't know what happened October 10th and everything that followed. I get it. If you zoom out, like that makes sense. People got wiped out and were attempting to recover, or they just weren't flush with dry powder. Like it makes sense, but there's still a tremendous amount of tailwinds. There's still a tremendous amount of things going in this industry's favor, and good segue into this AI16Z article because it kind of sums it up. I mean, it's hard to read this stuff and not be bullish about this space. It's hard to read this stuff and not be Jesus, this is a real debate. I didn't realize I got tagged in an article. I'm going to come back to that. Hold that thought. I'm going to like it, so I do come back to it because anytime someone highlights me, I feel like I should at least give a shout on the show. Let me pull up the AI16Z article first, and then we will come back to that. This is, again, I think it's hard to read this and not get excited for the upcoming year. Not saying it all comes to fruition, but this article here from Stacy, I think she was on the AI16Z team. Maybe she's not, just doing research, and founder of Green Dots. I'm not familiar with Green Dots, but I'm just going to share the article. I read it at face value. Might be some incorrect information. So as with anything, do your own research. Don't take everything I read, even if it is quoting AI16Z big ideas. Payments, stablecoins, and reinvention of financial rails. Most people aren't even going to debate this, maybe when and how big, but this is happening. Whether you like it or not, payments are coming on chain. It's a better, I don't understand this like Swift payment system in great detail, other than to know that enough that it's far better on chain than the current legacy financial rails. And you can know this too, just by going try to wire something from your bank, and they're going to charge you $35, and it's going to maybe it gets there same day, as long as it's not a business holiday or banking holiday. But on the watch list, just on stables, big brands, big protocols leaning hard into this stablecoin space. You got Circle, obviously Tether, Mo Foundation, EtherFi, Plasma, Stablecoin Bridge, Stripe, X402 ecosystem. This is something I probably need to do a deeper dive in, a better understanding. Maybe I can get someone technical to help me understand what exactly X402 unlocks. I understand it has to do with stables and pay. I've not done the deep dive yet, and shame on me. RWA origination, not just tokenization. Thesis: tokenization alone is insufficient to unlock real efficiency gains. Origination must move on chain. The first wave of real asset adoption focused on tokenizing existing off-chain instruments, loans, treasuries, credit products, and distributing them to crypto users. While this improved accessibility, it largely preserved the same legacy inefficiencies: opaque underwriting, high servicing costs, slow settlement, fragmented liquidity. Tokenization, in many cases, became a new wrapper around an old process. I agree. The thesis is now taking it to these assets originating on chain versus just tokenizing the what has existed previously. What wins in 26? On-chain underwriting, transparent risk pricing, compliance, compatible credit rails, deep liquidity. It gives a few here again to as far as on the watch list. I will pin this up top if I haven't already, so you can have a deep dive later. The internet becomes the bank, agents and payments. Also pretty sound thesis, I feel. And each one of these goes into, again, tags multiple multiple protocols that are building privacy as the primary moat. This is probably a paid advertisement by Mert and Zcash. Kid, security from code to law to spec as law. I don't quite understand this, but says audits are insufficient. Runtime enforcement becomes standard. Future of DeFi security, not do we catch every bug, but can the system block unsafe behavior by design? Interesting. I mean, I guess I get it theoretically. It's just too technical for my monkey brain. Prediction markets at scale. I think this is probably, again, not even debated. What wins in 26? It was debated heavily in the election season. Myself included, thought that they'd kind of fall off post-election. That simply didn't happen. They continued to. I mean, they had record years. So they mentioned Polymarket, Cauchy, Fractional is highlighted the first AI agent prediction market. This was new when I saw this article. I gave them a follow. I'm going to dive deeper. Opinion Lab, same thing. I wasn't familiar until I saw this. And Myriad Markets, as I mentioned. Yes, they show 10 million volumes on chain and active on chain betting across niches. It's just, of all the prediction markets, they are far from, when you talk about liquidity and markets available, it's just not there yet. It's not there yet where it's going to actually win like a sports bettor to get them to go use Myriad as their primary sports betting platform. ZK and verifiable compute. Again, more names listed. Wealth management goes on chain. Kind of back to the DeFi take. I think this is going to be a great onboarder for retail when they're able to not have to understand DeFi, but it's very simple. It's like, do you want to keep your savings in cash in a bank account, fiat bank account, where you're earning less than 1% interest, or would you rather move that on chain? And you're like, I think we'll see products come out where it's a guaranteed yield of, I don't know, 3-4% with upside. That just doesn't exist in fiat. And I think things like automatic rebalancing, your yield bearing cash, tokenized private market, this is happening. Whether you like it or not, whether you participate or not, it's happening. And most people don't want to understand DeFi. Normies don't want to come on chain. They just would like to earn more yield on their money. On-chain wealth management will enable that. So good article. Shout out to Stacy Murr. Let me go grab it. I will pin it up top for those that haven't seen it. There's also a corresponding article or two from AI16Z on this. And another proof point, if you are in the content creator game, a good reminder that long form articles are cooking on the timeline right now. Payne, I don't know what it's going to be, but I need to do a long form article here in the near future, because that is the key to getting monetized, I believe. I said I was going to go back to the tag. I hit AI16Z. If anyone has any questions, comments on the AI16Z big idea watch list, any of the other protocols, or upcoming TGEs we talked about, let me know. I mentioned I got tagged, so I want to give them a quick shout out, and then we'll circle back to closing thoughts, additional comments, and if none, we might get you out of here a few minutes early today. But looking at this post I got tagged in, appreciation post for Quirkies, free art upgrade for all holders, can be toggled on OS. Quirk Kids art has massive IP potential. We had Poppy on last week talking about the changes and the moves. Carl goes on, so I can see this working well on Web 2 socials and products. All honoraries are fire. Which one's the best? Clearly, Cap, Baby Cap is the best here. No offense, Timos or Rita or Gordon or Jesus or J-Bond, but yeah, Baby Cap is clearly the front runner for honorary of the day. That said, let me go take one more look at the multitude of chats here, make sure I'm not missing anything, and we will again close out with any closing comments, any additional thoughts on today's topics. Agent says, pretty sure Jupiter Exchange has unlocks every year for the next couple of years. Did you mention Espresso? I did not mention Espresso. Registration says all Ape holders and Ape Chain users can register now. Don't miss out Kadera a few months back. Thank you for that. I will add that to my to-do list today. That's pinned up top if anyone wants to go check out Espresso. Flow. Great mug. Happy 2026 Mindify. And I think the rest is just nonsense related to teacher labs loaded up on Pingu last couple of days when possible ETF news soon, in their opinion. It's another thing, like they alluded to the Pingu/Pudgy ETF that's in the works, but yet not dropped. Might that have an impact on token price and floor price? I don't know, but we should find out soon. I thought about going off on a Stranger Things rant, but I've my take on Stranger Things is someone I thought, I don't know who said it, but it was very fitting. They said that they went to a theater and everyone liked it, like the show, like the ending was excited about it. You saw a lot of people loving it, and then they came on X and everyone was like fudding it. It was awful. It was the worst ending ever. And then then it hit me. It's like Twitter is our upside down. Twitter is our like dark view on the world and all things, which I don't know. There might be some merit in that, especially, and it is not lost on me that specifically related to crypto is very different sentiment when you talk about, you go to an in real life event and there's fund managers and builders, and the overall sentiment from non-crypto Twitter compared to crypto Twitter most times is very, very different. And I won't share any spoilers. I won't share any spoilers for Stranger Things. For those who haven't watched it, be epic. You can come back. I won't share any spoilers. It's good. It's good. I enjoyed it. I'll just say that. I won't share spoilers. I enjoyed it. What do I think about heavy metal? It's one of the few NFTs I actually want to buy. If I talk about wanting to support people who are pushing the space forward, and I'm bullish NFTs and want to see them succeed long term, hard to talk about NFT supporters and NFT builders and not talk about Adam Weitzman at this point. So yeah, I do want a heavy metal. I like how they're introducing a new collection without introducing new supply. The only way to get the new pets are to burn heavy metal, and I think we need more of that. We need more NFT burns. We need less NFTs, not more, especially in the PFP arena. So yeah, heavy metals are one of the few NFT collections that I would like to add in the short term. Not like, oh, I aspire someday to add a CryptoPunk to my vault. I actually, short term, I do kind of aspire to add a V1 Punk before, if we do get a run on things. I think long term, I think V1s are being slept on, but that's just my opinion. I also, as I read like the AI16Z, I'm not sure if Joe's out there, but and not my place to share yet, but I do think our guy Joe on the right path with what he is building in the space, checked a lot of those boxes on the AI16 thesis for 2026 and beyond. So pulling this all together today somehow is we are far from over. I don't know exactly what the next phase looks like. I don't know what the next meta looks like, other than I do think DeFi and automated DeFi, or maybe automated is not the right word, DeFi with very simple user interfaces. I do think ETH is positioned really well to actually have a breakout year. When we talk about all these things, a lot of it is happening on ETH or ETH layer 2 side chains. Like it's not going anywhere, and it still hasn't had it did not have a moment. Like Bitcoin had a moment last year, Solana had a moment last year. ETH did not even hit all-time highs. Maybe it never gets back there. I think it will, and it's hard to think about so much institutional money. And you think about the smart money now, not just the institutional money. And yes, a lot of that is between 10 and 100,000 ETH. Yes, they are institutions and funds. Again, they probably safe to say that the average institution does far more due diligence and research than does your average trader on crypto Twitter. Maybe not. I'm sure there's exceptions. But if we look at them at a, zoom out and look at a high level, it is smart money. And smart money is flowing into ETH right now. Price action is kind of lagging. I don't know. Blame Vitalik and Rockin' Milady instead of a punk. Kidding, but not. One last check of the war room to see what I'm missing this morning without getting too distracted. And of course, there's a solid chance the 3 national champions will come from these 3 states. What a time. The last 3 national champions, that would be Ohio, Indiana, and Michigan. And yeah, I saw a take where the SEC, people like, oh, it's the greatest conference in college football, and I think they've won maybe one bowl game in the last couple of years, one playoff game, I should say. I think it was Texas has 2 wins. The new SEC, current SEC members have 2 playoff game wins in the last 3 years. And the follow up to that was, it was because the SEC has been playing with NIL money before it was called NIL money for decades, and the rest of the country just got caught up now. Case in point, Ohio State lost one of its best coaches ever because some of his players traded autographs for tattoos. Wasn't buying players, at least not that we know. Maybe there was. But now that everyone in the country can build their rosters with funds, you get teams like Indiana that are 14-0 and number 1 seed in the country and undefeated. Mark Cuban is an Indiana alum. I don't know how much money he's put into the program, but you got billionaires that are now supporting some of these programs that simply they weren't going to do that in the past. Like, I'm sure there was some billionaires that were sliding checks under the table, but it's not that deep for most of them. Most of them aren't going to try to buy players for a college team and risk getting, reputational damage or themselves in trouble. But now that it's legal, you're seeing a more fair and equitable playing field, I think. And that's me taking a shot at all the SEC homers out there. Final thoughts, and we will. I said it. We were going to get you out of here a little bit early today. We'll be back Monday. Man, another TGE list. And X did its sweet feature that it just nerfed. I was going to pull up a post and it just like refreshed my timeline as I was getting ready to pull up the post, so I lost it.
I'm going to do a quick plug for the newsletter. For y'all, I'm Crypto Pain, aka Pain. Handle the 1s and the 2s in the background. Take time if you can, subscribe to the pod. Hit up YouTube, subscribe, like, comment. We'd appreciate you all. The newsletter, for those of you all watching video, here's the page. Pretty simple. Last week we didn't put out a newsletter just because of the holidays and everything, traveling and whatnot. But just once a week, we're building it out, still making things, trying to make it for you all. So if there's anything you want to see, like Cap has said, let me or Cap know. We got a lot of ideas, a lot of things in the background working, but we want to make sure it's beneficial to you all and it's something that can help elevate the space. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring it to the quote unquote masses and try to make it more accessible to people so that you can bring along your friends or your parents or somebody who's just crypto curious. So again, if you can hop on the newsletter, trying to make it more for the people. If you want to subscribe to YouTube, that'll also be super helpful just for us to grow and get it out there. So I appreciate you all, and hopefully that was a nice little reset for you, Kat.
Perfect, man. We got requests already in the chat for 1 minute of pain. We got to make it a regular segment. Thank you so much for sharing. Appreciate all the work you do behind the scenes, and this newsletter just being one of them. But yeah, head to coffeewithcaptain.com, drop your email in there. We won't spam you. You'll get 1 newsletter a week, and we truly mean it. We are looking for how could that be a better resource for, not for us, for you, to consume. If you miss any shows, if you miss any, topics, or, you were only here 2 days this week and you want to catch the other shows, the recording links, the podcast link, all that'll be in there. But more so than those of you that are here, how can we make that a better resource for all of you to where you enjoyed a conversation, we went deep on something, like, oh man, I'd love my uncle to hear this. And you could just form the newsletter after the fact on Saturday and say, hey, check this out. What else could we include? Thinking like our core pillars here, focusing on crypto markets, crypto products, and crypto builders, all of the on-chain variety. Yes, we'll talk a little nonsense from time to time, but now that Ohio State's been eliminated from the playoffs, you're basically not going to get any Ohio State football talk for the next 6 to 9 months. If I end up shipping a best ball playoff build, you'll probably hear me take a victory lap on underdog best ball. But for the most part, we are out of sports season until I guess maybe September next year. But it's got to be KB's got to be Jeremy. Anyways, if you know, you know. Payne, you did a fine job. The people love 1 minute of pain. We don't have to bring it back every day, but appreciate you plugging the newsletter. And yes, please go give us a sub while you're looking for something else to do. Not just go give us a rating and review on Spotify or iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever it's called now. By the way, I said 2 things. One, I'm going to plug our YouTube. But while I'm doing this, and why I'd ask all of you to go hit us with a subscription over there on YouTube, I resubscribed to Apple TV. We yesterday watched F1, which is phenomenal. It's the very first time seeing it. I really enjoyed F1. I'm not like a racing fan or F1 fan, but the movie was really good. Brad Pitt still has it, and really enjoyed it. Really well done. I appreciate anything they can take, like real life stuff. I'm not saying it was a true story, but real life stuff, and make it realistic. And like Lewis Hamilton was one of the producers of that movie, and you could just tell it was, even being someone who's not into F1 per se, it just seemed hyper realistic. And I'm sure there's someone could probably poke holes in it, but I really enjoyed it. So my ask is, what, other than going and hitting us with a YouTube subscription, what other Apple TV movies or shows should I watch? And it's month by month subscription. I may or may not keep the sub. We'll see. But basically, what can I binge in the next 30 days to decide if it is worthwhile or not? I'm going to go. Actually, the link is pinned up top. I'm going to pin it all the way to the left. And if you've not yet hit us with a YouTube subscription, we have a very heated, I think we might have like $1,000 on the line, that if we don't, if we end the year with more subs than Sun Front knows us $1,000. And if he beats us this year, I think he gets like 10% stake in Coffee with Captain or something like that. So please don't let us lose to a teenager. Please go hit us with a subscription. And while you're up there, make sure you hit Dobbin's ref link for World Capital Markets over on, coming soon on Mega ETH. But get in that wait list now. 171,000 and counting. YouTube is pinned up top. Go hit us with the subscription over there if you want to like, comment on the show. That's cool. But would greatly appreciate the sub. Pluribus, I've heard, is a good watch. I've also heard that from a couple people, and it's, I think, also trending #1 right now on Apple TV. So probably will check that out if anyone's watched it and can confirm, because I've only heard it hearsay, like saying almost identical. People are like, oh, I've heard Pluribus is good, but I don't know if I've heard that from anyone who's actually watched it, or if they're just going off Apple TV ratings and rankings. A lot of airdrops, a lot of TGEs. You don't have to catch them all. There's a high likelihood there's going to be at least a cook this year on a TGE front that you miss. It's okay. Don't get down on yourself. Don't stop clicking buttons. I think you're better off, as opposed to trying to, if there is 69 of them, instead of trying to go qualify for all 69, find ones that you're excited about, products you use. If there's multiple products, if there's multiple new perp decks and you want to really trade perps, yeah, you can spread yourself across all of them, or you can find one that you think has a good chance on being first in class. Now, I think to do that, you probably should go check them all out, create an account, maybe load up a little bit of funds, maybe no funds, just click some buttons and get a feel for it. And then make your decision on which one you think might win. And yeah, most of these categories can have more than one winner. But if you pick the winner of the year, there's a good chance that TGE is going to be very fruitful. People who picked Hyperliquid last year won. People who picked, then followed that up with Lighter, they won. Those other perp decks that launched and didn't have near that success, I think. I don't know, I'm making that up. I can't even think of one that went to 0. But point being is, don't beat yourself up or think you need to go participate in all 69 of those or all 40 of them or whatever list you look at. There's going to be a lot. Some are going to be rewarding historical usage like OpenSea. Some are distractions are killing me today. Some are going to just be okay, and then some are going to be world changers or year changers, excuse me. Some will be a year maker. Could be. And what I do know is if you don't go click the buttons, if you don't participate, if you don't even attempt, you're not going to benefit from any of those airdrops. So you could say, oh, I don't have enough capital to participate in these things. A lot of them you can, just with time and energy and intention. I'm not even talking InvoFi, talking about the content. If you are going to do InvoFi, do me a favor and please go use the platform first. Don't just ask ChatGPT, what should I talk about? Fill in the blank, Infofy campaign. Go use the platform. Come up with some original ideas. Come up with your thoughts on what you thought about the platform. And if you want to use ChatGPT to help you create those thoughts, that's fine. But the AI slop, I'm pretty certain, is not going to get you rewards like it might have in 2025. Most Infofy platforms, they're recognizing that now. They're nerfing that stuff. Most are now incorporating on-chain activity. So meaning if you talk about an upcoming TGE every day for 6 weeks, but you've never yet even created an account or connected your wallet, you're probably not going to get a big TGE. And it's not all pay to play. Some of it is activity. Some of it's just being a user. And sometimes a user with $100, as long as they're not swapping back the same $100 and just to farm it, sometimes an active user who's actually using the product and talking about the product authentically, those people can win big. I actually used Lighter. I didn't farm Lighter. I just used it. And I got blown up. I got liquidated. My airdrop was almost as much as the funds I moved over there. Well, I was almost made whole off of one airdrop. I'm not saying that's the good strategy. The better strategy is to not lose your funds, be smart with your capital, employ some delta neutral strategy, and then I got thoughts. Remind me, I got to chat with you something in the war room or the green room at post show because it's throwing me for a loop this morning. All that to be said, we once again, after saying we're going to go short, somehow this might be my longest monologue ever. So I just see you looking to come up now. I'm just going to go ahead and wind things down, but we are here every Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern time. If you want to rejoin us next week, we will definitely have much more. Usually there's many guest speakers. Outer joins us on Tuesdays for a guest co-host. James Hall in the chat says, I dig Pluribus, leaves me thinking about it after I watch it, which is good in my opinion. Yes, I love shows that I'm thinking about the show or the movie after watching it. And if James Hall is saying it's a good show, I will watch it. That'll be next to my list. I started watching, kid you not, this is a great one to actually leave you all with. Talking memes to open the show. We're going to talk memes to end the show. I downloaded it, watched F1. I'm like, okay, what show should I start? Was looking through, here's trending shows. Any guesses what show I watched an episode and a half of last night? Foreshadowing was we started talking about memes. We're going to end up talking about memes. Crocs, when you listen to this playback later, Ham got me. The meme coin Ham, you've seen the guy does this. I can't remember what the show is called. I just know it was, the meme is from John Hamm, and I gotta now Google, so I give you the correct name of the show. Your Friends and Neighbors is what it is. Your Friends and Neighbors. True story. Crypto Twitter, in particular, the trenches are now influencing my consumption habits. Not the other way around. Not that retail is being onboarded to meme coins. Meme coins, rather, are onboarding me to traditional content. Meme coin literally got me to, I would have probably not clicked this show, but when I realized, oh, that's where the meme is from, and it's pretty good. It's good. I don't know. I've enjoyed it an episode and a half in. So yeah, I'm fully leaning into the meme coin culture because it's now influencing the content I consume outside of crypto Twitter. And I probably do indirectly now. Now that I'm talking about, I'm going to directly blame Crocs for this. If it's a bad show, I'm 100% blaming Crocs. But appreciate the recommendation for Pluribus. I'll definitely check that out. And if anyone else has any other movies or shows specifically on Apple TV, let me know. I'm accepting nominations. And with that note, appreciate y'all being here today. Thank you for all the support. Excited to kick off this new year. We got some changes coming, far more than just the backwards hat, but gonna have some fun this year. This might be the first and last show where I monologue for 2 hours. I don't know. Check me if I'm off on that. I don't think I've ever done that. I mean, yes, Steve co-hosted for almost 1,000 of these episodes. But even over the last couple of months, I'm pretty certain we had at least a guest speaker throughout the course of the show. So setting records here on January 2nd. We're keeping up with the Pepe pump of the day, and couldn't do it without all of you. So again, thank you for being here. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the last of the long holiday here. I think a lot of you probably head back to school or work on Monday. And we will be, well, yes, we kicked off the new year. We've implemented some minor changes, really hit the ground with new format structure and whatnot, kicking off next week and back to regularly scheduled work schedule, and no holiday watching John Hamm TV shows in the afternoon. But I digress. Thanks again for all being here. Good luck to those. Actually, the college playoffs are over. So if anyone is, I don't know, sweating a playoff for your favorite NFL team, good luck this weekend. I hope they make it for you. The Niners are going to win the Super Bowl. They're going to beat Seattle tomorrow and secure the 1 seed. And then they have just home games to win the Super Bowl. So that's programmed. If you don't have a Niners, if you go pick your favorite prediction market and put a small bet on Niners to win the Super Bowl, maybe even a Brock Purdy Super Bowl MVP, he is an elite quarterback. Julian's saying not an elite quarterback. On that note, as Steve would say, we hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, everyone.
Thanks for tuning into Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin. We hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, nothing we discussed today is financial advice. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Welcome to the future.